tonight.
Milo, is that you?
There, I think I got it.
Or Brad could play.
No, I don't think Brad's qualified.
Certainly not.
Let's hear how Brad can do. Brad, my favorite trains are Rapido trains.
Your fast track to model railroading fun.
Rapido trains, your fast track to model railroading fun.
That's pretty good.
That's good.
That is good.
Nice and clear.
Thank you.
Yeah, nice
Quality.
and clear, and it's quality. But you can't replace it. Kelly right now is playing the part of Bruce, the moderately agitated mailboy. So
Fair enough.
Yeah. So tonight we have in the studio Brad Stubby Williamson.
Good evening, everybody.
And we have the modeler, simply known as Kelly.
Hello.
And tonight we're going to talk to Dave Owens, who is the head poobah of NERPM. Excuse me. Dave, say hi.
Hello there.
Hi, Dave.
It's great to be here. Thank you.
Is it?
It is.
Is it really?
Absolutely.
What's your favorite part of being in the AML studio? Good answer.
My favorite part is probably the refreshments.
The shrimp. The shrimp.
Yeah. You know, Dave, one of the restaurants because I love sushi in downtown Busted Knuckle, Kentucky. You know what their motto is?
I don't.
It's "We're shrimply the best." Have you ever heard of that before, Dave?
No, I haven't. I'll be using it, though.
Yeah, exactly. We're shrimply the best. So
Very clever, isn't it?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Very, very clever. So for those of you who don't know, but by now, for regular listeners, Dave Owens, who lives in the beautiful town of
West Hartford, Connecticut.
West Hartford, Connecticut, and you're the social media director for another town called
Vernon, Connecticut.
Vernon, Connecticut. And what's the elevation of Vernon, Connecticut?
About 1,500 feet.
There you go.
I just made that up. I don't even know if that's true.
Have you ever been on the show before?
Once or twice.
Yeah, you should be prepared. So NERPM is coming up, which stands for the New England / Northeast. You guys still haven't settled on what it is, eh?
We go back and forth.
Is this kind of like Railfan Railroad?
Sure. Yes. It's just, we figured any RPM was obnoxious. Any RPM is okay. And, alternate between the two. To somewhere Northeast, to somewhere New England.
Okay. And you guys need to update your pictures on your website. Some of these
for David's information, it's 572 feet.
There you
that's
go.
Pretty good.
See, if Kelly can stay ahead of you, you should be. Yeah, that's a pretty low bar.
Well,
It's also the most populous town in Tallinn County, Connecticut.
I did know that.
There you go. Okay.
Does it mention there that it's home to Ryan's Deli?
I haven't run across that yet.
Who's the mayor? Who's the mayor?
Dan Champagne.
Dan Champagne. Is that really his name?
It is.
Dan Champagne. Vote Dan Champagne.
Formerly known as Officer Champagne.
Oh, he used to be a police officer.
He was.
Oh, okay. And then he quit and became the mayor.
He retired and got involved in local politics, was a state senator, and he is the mayor.
Okay. And a pretty good guy?
He's a very good guy.
So why don't you have the New England / Northeast Railroad Prototype Modelers meet in Vernon, Connecticut?
I would love to have it in Vernon, but there are some infrastructure lackings, like a good hotel.
Okay.
And I have eyed places around town as a meet location, but nothing quite measures up.
So
but I'm always on the lookout.
So if there was a hotel there, you'd probably go there, and then it would close after
Well,
the meet.
Yeah, that's always a risk. But there are some hotels in Vernon, and I use the term loosely. I wouldn't want my friends to stay in the hotel.
That's like we'll get Ron Kleiss on here one night from Mind Mount Models, and he can tell you about staying at a Red Roof Inn.
See,
Oh, wow.
I would not recommend. A police officer once told me if you stay in a hotel that costs less than $100 a night, someone very likely made methamphetamine in your coffee maker.
Yeah.
That's a good way. That's a good way of looking at it.
And I mean, there's 4 hotels in Vernon. Boy, this is probably not going to be going over well with the Chamber of Commerce. And one of them is okay. 3 of them are not so much.
Yeah.
And I just wouldn't want people to stay there.
And honestly, if anybody from the Chamber of Commerce from Vernon, Connecticut is listening to this, we've hit the big time.
That's right. Actually, it would be the Tolland County Chamber of Commerce.
Tolland County Chamber of Commerce. Okay. And
Vernon's a great town. Otherwise, it's lots of good stuff. But
well, sure, yeah, it's got
overnight accommodations are something we need to work on.
Well, yeah, because West Hartford is just down the street.
Exactly.
It's just not big enough yet. When there's a gigantic city right next to it. I'm actually wearing my Whalers jersey tonight.
Ooh,
go Canes!
My Hartford, yeah, go Canes. That's right.
That's still, we're still mourning that event in Hartford.
Yeah, and somehow, I don't know exactly how, but somehow the one individual owns the rights to the Hartford Whalers symbol or logo. And I'm not exactly clear on that story, but for the longest time, you couldn't even buy Hartford Whalers jerseys or anything. And it's still...
Now it's one of the most popular logos.
I know, exactly. Well, there's nothing. I have a great one. It fits me perfectly. It's like my favorite shirt. I love the green color. I love the logo of the Hartford Whalers. It's it's unfortunate. Why did they not support the team? Why did the town not support the team?
I think the city did, but the Hartford Civic Center was not an ideal venue. There was not the super boxes and the things where they make gobs of money. People supported the team, but we're a relatively compact metropolitan area. It's not like Philadelphia, where there's several million people. There's about 3.8 million people in all of Connecticut, and Greater Hartford was the Whalers, and it was always, believe it or not, second fiddle to UConn basketball, if that makes sense. UConn basketball has been sort of our professional sport, and especially this year, we've had the 2 teams have been very good they've been very good for a long time. But there was tremendous support for the Whalers, but I guess not enough, and it's a shame because I know when it left, people were really bummed out. But and there's been talk about how people want to get an NHL team back in Hartford, but I don't think the NHL is interested. Yeah,
because it was your only. Go ahead, Kelly.
Yeah, the NHL and the Hurricanes own the trademark to the logo.
Okay.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
But our minor league baseball team has the same colors for its colors: the blue and the green.
The Yard Goats.
The Yard Goats, yes. Which have another cool logo.
I have a Yard Goats hat. Fitted Yard Goats hat. What are they? Are they AAA or AA?
I think they're double.
Okay. I was at a Daytona Tortugas game, Daytona Beach Tortugas game a few nights ago from when this is being recorded. And they're a single A team. And my wife is like, and there's also a hockey team in Orlando called the Orlando Solar Bears that we took some friends to. They wanted to go to a professional hockey game. And I didn't have the heart to tell them that the ECHL isn't really like professional hockey. The ECHL is an animal all on its own. But but when we were at the Daytona Beach Tortugas, Tortugas, I think it's some sort of a turtle. And
I think it's Spanish for tortoise, isn't it?
very well could be. I don't know. Why don't you look that up and tell us?
Yeah, effort.
Yeah, I'm efforting it as we speak.
Yeah.
Lionel, the Yard Goats are a double A minor Eastern League, and they're affiliated with the Colorado Rockies.
Oh, okay. There you go.
But last season, I got to watch Max Scherzer pitching before he went back to the Mets. So that was kind of cool.
Well,
He
that
was
would
doing
be
his
cool.
rehab.
And that was the point I was making to my wife is that she said, so is this like the ECHL? And I said, this is nothing like the ECHL. I said, these guys, I said, while they don't have much of a chance, I said, these are all young guys that are trying to get the AA ball. And then when they get the AA ball, they're desperately trying to get the AAA ball. I said, these guys actually have a chance of making it to the show. If one of them is a standout, they'll move up. I said, it's nothing like the ECHL. The ECHL is kind of like, I think I could have played in the ECHL if it existed when I was.
Lionel,
Yes.
I have confirmed that the Spanish word for tortoise is indeed tortuga.
Wow.
Wow.
Look at you go.
Google Translate.
Google Translate. There you go. And do the Tortugas, do any of the Tortugas like Rapido trains?
Your fast track to model railroading fun.
If it's N, if it's H-O, the fast track is Rapido.
I think all turtles like Rapido trains.
There you go. Probably you're right. Probably all turtles do like Rapido trains.
Your fast track to model railroading fun.
Rapido trains, your fast track to model railroading fun.
What is there not to like about Rapido trains, really?
Exactly. Okay, so the reason we're here, enough of this foolishness. The reason we're here is to promote the Northeast New England prototype railroad meet. Prototype railroaders meet.
Railroad prototype modelers.
Railroad prototype modelers. Yeah, that's it. RPM. And it's basically a collection of snobs that don't really want to talk to anybody else.
Wow.
Not at all. Come on, you came last year, Lionel. Everybody talked to you.
Exactly. That's why I was bringing it up. It's not a collection of snobs. It's a collection of people that just like being model railroaders. So give us a list. So where is it this year? Because last year, where was it? At the Marriott or something?
Last year we were at the La Quinta.
Oh, the
in
La
Springfield,
Quinta.
Massachusetts.
That's right. And the room started to leak.
Boy, did it ever! There was a minor leak, and then there was a not so minor leak. Luckily, the meet was over when that happened. I went up to the 12th floor where all the activities were centered and looking for something at about midnight on Saturday. Everything had been cleared out by that point, and water was just cascading through the roof like a waterfall. And I said, well, I probably ought to call the desk. And they didn't seem terribly upset about what I told them. And then they sent someone up, and he said, wow, it is leaking. I said, I promised it was. I wouldn't lie to you. And I know it got into the floors below. It was a mess.
And wasn't it leaking before the Saturday night, though?
Yes, there had been a lot of rain, and it began to leak a little bit into some buckets, but it wasn't that bad, and we were able to work around it.
Well, and the crazy part was it was leaking in the middle of the room where none of the models were.
Right, it was a good spot for the leak.
Yeah,
we planned that.
Yeah, it was a leak that was placed very carefully in the middle of the room, away from the models.
Yes,
because it was like a ballroom / I guess where you'd hold wedding receptions and stuff, and in the middle of the floor was a dance floor, and you guys had the tables set up all around the outside of the room.
Right, because we wanted to encourage dancing.
Exactly, which I tried to get David Stark to dance with me, but he wouldn't have any part of it.
He can bust some moves.
Oh, he can. Absolutely. The exciting part for me since last year is I can pronounce Ted DiIorio. I can't pronounce.
You're doing a great job. Teddy's laughing now too.
Yeah, Ted's laughing now too because I had it down there for the longest time. How do you say it?
DiIorio.
DiIorio. Because it's a D, then I, then another I, Then O-R-I-O, right?
Just call him Teddy Dee.
Teddy Dee. Teddy Dee. Oh, I like that. Teddy Dee. We'll call him that from now on because he posts on the AML fans page quite a bit.
Yeah.
Teddy Dee. I love that. Oh, my God.
He's a fine man. He
is a fine man because he does this really cool weathering clinic.
And he's going to do that again.
Yeah, so let's talk about that for a minute, about this cool weathering clinic.
I never said where the meet's going to be.
Well, we haven't got to that point. I'm staring right at it on the page, but if you've ever listened to this podcast,
it's not linear.
No, it's not linear. It's very scattered. It kind of goes all over the place.
It's geometric.
Yeah, it's geometric. As a matter of fact, that wasn't before the podcast. We were talking about my psychiatrist, Dr. Lee, and we were talking about how I was torturing that poor woman for years and years and years. I'm going to get her on the podcast so that she can tell everybody what's wrong with me. She always goes, I don't know anything about model railroad. And I said, yeah, it's got nothing to do with it.
I would argue I don't either.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so all right, let's do it your way then. Where is this meet going to be held?
So we've moved the meet literally about 5 or 6 blocks south. It's going to be at the Sheraton Springfield Monarch Place Hotel.
So why, and the year before the La Quinta, it was somewhere else. Why can't you hold it in one spot?
I would love to hold it in one spot. We've just had a run of bad luck with hotels. We're the hotel killers. The first place they about a couple weeks before the meet, they called us and said, "Hey, we're going to be tearing down our event space and salting the earth because we don't want you people to come back." And so they did that. We moved it to a place where they decided to convert the hotel into apartments, and then COVID happened, so we had a 2-year break of killing hotels, and then we were searching for a place, and the La Quinta was available, and it was a great interim location. The people there were very accommodating, but I always saw it as an interim location. And then the folks at the La Quinta told us last year, "Hey, we're going to convert the rooms that you use for clinics back into guest rooms." So we needed to find a new place, and the Amherst Society, of which we are a part, the folks who put on the big train show in January, they have had a long relationship with the Sheraton. It's been sort of the host hotel for the big show, for the clinics they do in the winter. And we went and talked to them, and we worked up a deal, and we're going to be there this year. And as you may recall from last year, Lionel, people spent a lot of time on elevators because one clinic room was on the 3rd floor, one was on the 11th floor, while all the activities, the model room and whatnot, were on the 12th floor. So this time, everything is all together on the 2nd floor in a really nice event space. So no more elevator riding.
Okay, because this is kind of... And how are you guys connected to the Amherst show?
Well, we're part of the Amherst Railway Society.
What do you mean? What do you mean you're part of it? Like
the guys who run the meet, my team, we decided we wanted to affiliate with the Amherst Society, and the Amherst Society was very happy to affiliate with us, and we're part of the Amherst Society now.
So when did you guys affiliate, and did you ask them, or did you just kind of move in and say, "Hey, we're here"?
I talked to John Sacerdote about it, and I said, "What do you think of this?" And he said, I think it would be great. And we took it to the Amherst Society board, and the board agreed and voted to bring us in. And my team did the same thing. We decided that it would be just better for everybody if we were affiliated with the Amherst Society. And
what difference does that make?
Well, before it was an event put on by a group of people, and that was it. We had to get insurance. We had to make personal guarantees. And now we're part of this much larger organization, which just makes life easier for us and brings a lot to the table to help us with the meet.
And so when did you guys affiliate with Amherst Railroad Society?
Between last year and this year's meet. So
really?
Yeah, it's something I've been thinking about for a long time that we needed to do. And I talked to my guys, and some of them had questions and wanted to think about it and talk about it. And we did that. And but John and I had talked about it, and he was very positive. He thought it was a great idea because we all have the same mission. We're trying to promote the hobby. So
yeah,
it was just sort of a natural, it made sense.
I've talked about this on the podcast before, not for a while though, but I have talked about it on the podcast before. I've never met two guys, you and Dave Owens and John Sacerdote, who try as hard as they can to help the hobby of model railroading advance throughout the nation and throughout the world and throughout the humanity. You guys are just like all about making model railroading available to the whole world.
Well, I enjoy it. I mean, I love it. It's a great hobby, and I have a great time with the other people who I know who are in the hobby. We've got a great community of people, and that community has been strengthened through these kinds of events, through podcasts like yours, through social media. You know, as you well know, it was once a sort of a lone wolf hobby. You know, you worked, toiled away in your basement. Now we discover that there's all of these people like us who share our interest out there. And hey, some of them are nice guys, and we like to see them and get together with them. And not just guys, of course.
Absolutely.
People.
There's a lot of people. There's a lot of women and females and guys and lots of people. So how long have you been, I know you don't like to say you're the head, but you're the head honcho of this particular event. And how long have you been running, you and your guys? Because you also make the point of saying that really on the weekend, it's your guys that are doing the most of the work. You're just kind of standing there, you know, sucking up oxygen.
Right.
So how long have you and your guys been doing this? How long have you had this group of guys doing this?
This will be our 22nd meet.
So
and we lost 2 years during COVID. So
okay. So you started in the year 2000.
A little later, because the first meet I attended was in 2001. So probably, I don't know, maybe 2002, but pretty that in that range of time.
Okay, so let me ask you this question. This is a philosophical question, sort of, but I'm interested. What have you noticed has been the change in the hobby since the beginning of the RPM, the NERPM? Excuse me. What have you noticed is the change? Because you and I talk a lot about the people in the hobby and bringing people into the hobby and stuff like that. Like, what have you noticed that's changed? It's almost an ideal time frame, because in 2001, it was the dawn of the internet, and there was lots of internet chat groups, but it was yet to be the smartphone, which is really what blew up social media. So what have you noticed to be the change in the hobby in that 20 years?
I think the communities that have been established are important. The interaction, the friendships, the just really the community of modelers. I think, and I don't think this is directly attributable to these meets, but we're in a golden age of the hobby when you start to look at the products that are available. You know, people talk about the good old days and things were better in the good old days, and it's counterintuitive to a lot of people, but the stuff that is being made in our hobby has never been better. The locomotives, the freight cars. Now, certainly there's been an accompanying increase in cost, but the stuff that's available today is just mind-boggling compared to what you could get 30 years ago. There's just been so many advances, but I think these prototype meets that happen around the country, I think they've helped to build the community, to bring people together and work towards maybe a higher level of modeling. They see the possibilities. They see that, hey, I can do this. That guy did it. He showed me how he did it. Why don't I try it? And I think it has given people a new insight into their own skills, that they don't need to be intimidated by a resin kit, that they can do it. And that's because people have shown them how to do it.
And have you noticed through the social media there's a more of a connection with people when they get there? Like, are they more already kind of friendly because they've been talking to each other on social media? Like, have you noticed a difference in the overall feeling of an RPM or your particular RPM? Because since you began, social media has exploded, and people can stay in touch much more readily than they could before they get to the meet.
There's that. A lot of that people can, they can chat, they can join with others with a Zoom call, they can share their modeling very easily. Take a couple pictures with their smartphone and post them in a Facebook group, or text them, or share them in Messenger. or on Instagram, which I haven't figured out yet. There's all, yes, it's just so easy to share. And I think that has brought people together, those who want to be brought together. There's still lots of lone wolves out there. And we certainly would love to have everybody come and check the meet out and become a part of this, because I think the hobby is a lot of fun, but I think it's a lot more fun when you can do it with other people.
Oh, for sure. I mean, to me, that's what's so huge about social media and the advent of social media is how you can share this hobby with others. And I mean, you look at me, you and I have become friends, and first it was through doing interviews about NERPM, and then it just kind of easily morphed into a regular friendship.
Yeah.
And I'm just okay. So, and do you think anybody at the meet will have Rapido trains?
Your fast track to model riveting fun.
If it's N, if it's HO, the fast track is Rapido.
We're doing pretty good, Kelly.
I have no doubt there will be Rapido trains there.
Because Bill Schneider will be there.
Because Bill will be there.
And Bill has yet to be on the podcast, so we gotta just be
really
good. Yeah. And he knows he's supposed to be on the podcast by now. And he's even come up to me and said, I want to be on the podcast. And then I'll text him. And so we're working on it. I think Bill's doesn't sit still very much.
No, he's so busy, but he'd be a great guy to have.
He would be.
In addition to playing a key role in designing Rapido trains, he is a spectacular modeler.
Oh, I know.
I mean, mind-bogglingly good.
I know that I think has changed. Do you think that's changed? I think that's changed in the last 20 years. I think there's more really good modelers out there. I think there's way more really good modeling and really good modelers and really good layouts. I think there's way more of that now than there ever was before.
Hard for me to say, but I'm certainly aware of a lot more layouts because people share information about them online and have Facebook groups dedicated to them, or Facebook pages, I should say, and which provides a great opportunity for us to follow somebody's work, and for people like Tom Jacobs to proselytize about the hour a day. Get down there, work an hour a day. You don't have to. It doesn't have to be a 5-hour work session. Make a little bit of progress every day, and you're getting there. Yeah,
and that is all. That is, and it's not just about people with layouts. It's some people who don't have layouts, don't have the room or whatever, but their modeling has I think people's modeling has improved dramatically because they have easy access to information about how to do things.
Yeah, easier access and people willing to share and show and just help everybody kind of move forward.
I think not only access to the information, but access to a lot of products that a lot of people maybe didn't even know about before that make being a good modeler easier.
No doubt.
That's a good point because, we're forever, I'll be looking on somebody's Facebook page or somebody will post something on the Modelers Life Facebook page, fans of Modelers Life, and you'll see something in some product that you've never even heard of before. And it seems like every day or every week there's some product that you've never even heard of and some company that's legit, that's been around for years. That you've never heard of before.
I saw on Chris Adams' page the other day a reference to a guy making resin parts. I know the guy. I didn't know he had a business. He's making neat stuff. Cabs for New Haven locomotives and just really kind of cool stuff.
Chris has been under the weather for a while. I hope you're feeling better, Chris. Chris Adams, a.k.a. Mr. Fitness, a.k.a. the Valley Local, modeling the New Haven Railroad in the autumn of 1948.
Yep, that'll be $300.
Yeah, that'll be $300. I have a new cab coming from Michael Redden over at Northeast Model Works.
That's Mike. Yeah, Mike Redden. It's a cool model he makes, or a cool product he makes.
Yeah, and you go over to his page, and he has these 3D printing projects that he's doing, and for people, and it's improved Alco S1 fan grade, and this is really good stuff. S-scale Hancock whistles, holy macros.
Yeah,
just all kinds of stuff, and you never would have had any way of knowing about him before. That's the cool part. It's now there's easier ways to find out about people. So Okay, so you're going to be at the. Let's get back to this here. Hang on. I got thrown off because I'm looking at the clinic list,
Yes.
and I see that Ralph Heiss is going to be helping Ted DiIorio.
Ralph can't make it.
So now Ralph isn't going to be helping him.
No, it's just going to be Ted on his own. Although he was asking if you'd be available.
So it's just going to be Teddy Dee. I love that.
Yes, I got to make an updated list. Since we put that out, I've been doing some revisions.
You know what? You should put it. You should put just Ted DiIorio. I think I'm getting it now. DiIorio. What throws you off is because Ted was explaining this to me last year when I interviewed him at the meet. Is that the whatever font they use in Google, the capital L or the large L, the capital L looks like an I, or like the capital I looks like an L. So it throws you off. But it's just really, there's two I's and then OR and then IO, and it's DiIorio. It's very simple, really, when you know what you're doing. But I would say, you know what how I'd change that? Obviously, you got to take Ralph's name off. Ralph wasn't there last year either.
No, unfortunately.
Come on, Ralph.
Lad.
Yeah, come on, Ralph. You're missing in action, buddy. What I would do is after you take Ralph's name off, you put Teddy DiIorio and then in brackets, Teddy Dee.
Teddy Dee.
Yeah.
I'll do that. Teddy Dee.
Teddy Dee. I love that. Today, I think if nothing else, you know what it should say on the bottom of the billboard for this particular podcast? The birth of Teddy Dee. I love that.
He's either going to like that or I'm going to get a dead arm at the meet.
Nah, I think he's going to like it. I think he strikes me as the kind of guy that would roll with that.
I think he would too.
Yeah, me too. All right. So it's at the, let's just finish up on that. It's at the Sheridan Springfield Monarch Place.
Correct.
Sheridan Springfield Monarch Place. What is Monarch Place? Just the name of that block or something?
I'm not really sure, but
no. And rooms are $139 a night.
Correct.
And that closes on May the 5th.
May 9th.
And now it's May the 9th.
We got an extension from the hotel May 9th, and we actually just added some rooms to the block today. So that was good news. If I could also say that we really urge folks to make these reservations through our webpage. That way they get to the proper link, they get our rate, and we get credit for their stay, which is important too, because we have to hit a certain number of room nights with the hotel.
So through the month of April, I've been having trouble getting some of the podcasts out on time. But according to my schedule, this particular podcast, the day that we're talking, should be April the 29th. And so as of April the 29th today, and if it's not today, it's tomorrow. And I'm not going to talk about any excuses that I might have for not getting a podcast out on time, because excuses are lame. And I've been doing this for 10 years, and for 9 years, the podcasts have been pretty accurate coming out on time. So this last month and a half, it's been kind of a mishmash of some of them get out on time, some of them don't get out on time. And I have no excuses. I'm just pathetic. Let's just go with Lionel's pathetic, and that's why some of them aren't getting out on time. And so
I wouldn't say that.
You wouldn't?
I wouldn't say that. No.
No? Well,
things happen. People have got to deal with things.
Yeah, that's true. Should happen.
And most of us are understanding.
Most of us are. Yep. So anyways, this is April the 29th. This is Monday, April the 29th. You want to book your room by May the 9th, which is basically a week from Wednesday. And so that gives you another 10 days to book this room.
And the meet is May 31, June 1. That's a Friday and Saturday.
Right.
We're going to have programs Thursday night for people who get in early, and then Sunday we're going to have layout open houses. And at this point, we have about 10 layouts, and including some really spectacular ones.
I went to see John Sacerdotti's layout last year.
You know, and he was really excited to sell a locomotive, I understand.
And he sold me a locomotive for $100 that I have yet to pay him for.
You know, it's funny. Every time we go out to lunch, he's short, and And now, why don't you can just pay me.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. How about that? Why don't you give John the $100 and then I'll owe you $100? How does
Because then
that?
you won't owe it for as long if it's a
If it's a brand, it's exactly now,
Yeah.
Brad, you are finally starting to find your place on this podcast. That is it exactly. It's not. I haven't owed the money for as long if it's a brand new loan. If
a
John,
brand new creditor, brand new creditor,
exactly. If that's right. So you know what? I'll give you $103. So you buy the loan. You buy the loan off of John, and then I'll owe you $103, and you'll be $3 to the good. And yet it'll just start. We'll roll over again, and by this time next year, I'll be saying, and I still owe $103 for that locomotive I bought.
And then we can find somebody else.
Yeah, we'll find somebody else, Kelly.
Oh man.
So okay. So today is roughly Monday, April the 29th. I feel pretty confident that I'm going to get this out on time.
Wow.
Don't get too excited. And then it's going to be like 10 days you have to book your room, which is $139 per night in U.S. funds, U.S. dollars, because obviously that's because it's in Springfield, Massachusetts, which is slowly becoming the magnetic north of all things model railroading. I spend more time in Springfield, Massachusetts than one person should, I think.
And then probably a lot of people should.
Yeah, and yet it's the Basketball Hall of Fame.
It is.
I think isn't there a casino like right across the street from the Sheridan?
Yes, one was built within the last 5 or 6 years, right in downtown Springfield.
It's an MGM casino, isn't it?
It is.
Our buddy David Hyde, aka Mr. Jingles, he's always talking about let's go to the casino. Let's go to the casino. And I'm like, okay. I'd
rather spend my money on model trains.
Yeah, and well, he's got a bunch of French horns. He always wants to try to get the wager on the roulette table. Can I place my French? And the guy's going, no, it's cash only. But this French horn is, and I'm like, no, you got to. And then he walks around the Amherst show asking people if they want to hear the end, because we've now taken his version of City of New Orleans on the horn, on the French horn, along with the horn section from a horn section that he created. Some folks from the Dallas Symphony Orchestra, some of his students, because he's also a teacher, a professor at SMU. Go Mustangs! And so he created his own version, a horn version of City of New Orleans, which is now our official ending to the show. That's a big moment. I hope he realizes how important that is, because for us to change, not the song itself, but for us to change who's playing it, that's a pretty big moment.
That should add greatly to the value of that French horn if he ever wants to use that for gambling, I would think, shouldn't it?
Yeah, I would
think so.
Yeah. Wow, Brad, you were starting to fit in perfect.
It only took me a year and a half, right?
Exactly. Huh.
A year, I guess.
Yeah.
A year.
Patrick never said you were a fast learner.
No, he did. He would never claim that. No.
You know, David, Brad's a physics teacher in a high school.
Really?
Yeah, that's what he says.
Yes.
That's what he says.
Lionel doesn't really believe me, but it is true. Believe it or not.
I took physics in high school 3 times.
I keep threatening to re-enroll in high school just so I can take a class in Brad's in Jersey Shore High.
That would be my ultimate dream if that ever happened.
Yeah,
I could never keep sine, cosine, and tangent straight. And but I killed on well, now I can't remember it, so I guess I didn't. But memorizing the formulas was always my weakness.
Yeah, that can be tough for sure.
And so Brad and I are in negotiations for him to have a multiple choice test so that people see if I can pick up the rhythm, because the key with a multiple choice is a few B's, a couple of C's, a few D's, and don't be stingy with the A's. And if you can pick up, you're either going to, in geography, I either got like 86 or 6 was my mark, because if you can pick up the rhythm of the multiple choice, if you can grab that rhythm, man, you are off to the races. If you can find 3 or 4 questions that you know the answer to, and you find that rhythm, man, you just boom, 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 boom.
What happens if you fail to find the rhythm? Is that where the 6 comes from?
That's where the 6 comes from, yeah. Then it's like...
Then you get to take physics again.
Yeah, exactly. You found the rhythm, you just found the wrong rhythm. You ain't got no...
I'll get that multiple choice test put together for you. How many questions do you want on it?
I'd say 20. Wouldn't you say 20?
Yeah, that sounds like a good number. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. I'd say 20. And there'll be some young girl in his class that'll like breeze through it, and it'll be like, she knew the answers. And I never cheated in high school. I always wanted whatever mark. I always was willing to accept the I was always willing to accept it.
I'm only kidding. I didn't have to take physics 3 times, but it was painful the one time, and I took it like a man.
There you go.
Now, chemistry in college, that was something different.
What did you go to college for?
Well, initially, I went in undeclared, but I had said petroleum engineering at some point during the admissions process. So I got put in chemistry for majors, and that was not a good match for me.
And then you went into journalism.
I needed to get my GPA up, and I took news writing. And it all fell from there.
Yeah, isn't it funny when you find your niche? You're like, I do this I'll listen to this podcast, and I'll think, damn it, I could have been an actor, for crying out loud. I completely missed the boat. And then but now I take it out on my psychiatrist. I love having a psychiatrist. I think having a psychiatrist is just the greatest thing on the planet, especially when I've just tortured this poor woman for years and years, and she says, and once in a while she'll fall back into her typical psychiatry thing, and she'll go, well, now, why do you think you did that, Lionel? And I'll always answer with the same thing. You're kidding me, right?
If we have to think about this, everything always just falls apart, right?
Yeah, exactly. Because it was there. I got it. I can't say this. How can I say this without it sounding wrong? So I was late because for whatever I met. While I was talking to one of my employees today, and I missed the turnoff I wanted to take on the way to the hospital. So then I ended up being late because I got into heavy traffic. And let's say that I came to a couple of intersections where I didn't really see the need to wait.
Uh-oh.
And I made it through both of those. I'm thinking, there's nobody else going. Why don't I just go?
Nobody else seems to want to claim right away, so I'm taking it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
There is some logic to that.
Exactly. I'm not saying the light was green, and I'm not saying it was red. All I'm saying is nobody else was using the intersection, so why don't I use it?
I just would have to say that formula probably has about the same success rate as your rhythm testing thing does.
Yeah,
so
that's it.
It's going to catch up with you at some point.
And you might learn about inertia.
Yeah, well, and you also learn the first thing you're doing is looking in your rearview mirror.
You also might learn about moving violation.
Yes.
Well, if the light was red, I never said the light was red. You're assuming an awful lot there, Brad.
That's why I said might. You might learn about.
Maybe I was just at an intersection with a lot of dumb people and they weren't going.
That happens sometimes.
Exactly. All right. So we've established that it's at the Sheraton Springfield Monarch Place Hotel. They have rooms until May the 9th, which is Wednesday, May the 9th. You just go to the NERPM website and click on book your room. And NERPM website is very simple. NERPM, Northeast or New England, NERPM, Railroad Prototype Modelers, and .org. And do you know why? Do you know why it's .org?
Because we're organized.
No, it's because you're an organization.
I knew that.
Too late. So we've done that part. So now let's go to, you can register online. So let's see, how much does it cost? How much does it cost for this shindig? Let's see. Okay, so NERPM registration. Register for Friday and Saturday and layout open houses on Sunday, $60.
That is accurate for both days. We also have a 1-day admission for people who can only make it 1 day.
Right, and we haven't gotten to that part yet.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, steady on, steady on. I don't see that on here.
It says it should say it someplace. Are you looking at the website or the flyer?
I am. Well, I went. Let's see. I'm at NER. I'm at the NERP. Excuse me. Actually, excuse me. NERPM.org, and I clicked on register online.
Oh, you can't register for the 1 day online. That's just a walk up.
Okay, all right, but that's available to people if they want.
It is, yes.
So I would maybe recommend that you might put that on the website somewhere.
I will ask that of our website man.
Yeah, because I think that's important for people that they know that they can just come for a day.
Yes.
They don't necessarily, but okay, if you register online and you register for the full event, it's $60. If you want breakfast on Friday, that's $20. It's buffet, eggs, bacon, pastries, coffee, tea, served to you by your very own NERPM guy, Dave Owens.
That's a new thing this year. We have these meals because we have an obligation to hit a number with the hotel for catering. And,
do you?
We're going to try and do that with these breakfasts and lunches on Friday and Saturday, and then hopefully with the bar on Thursday night, Friday night, and Saturday night.
Okay, now how will they be able to tell who's at the bar buying, getting liquor?
They're going to actually we're going to have our own bar that will be brought out into the meat area where everybody is gathered.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
This sounds like I'm not 100% sure I can make this one, but this sounds like a real shindig.
I hope so. The goal is, as I say every year, and I really mean it, is just to have fun, just to have a great time.
Well, I've been to NERPM, the event last year, and it was a lot of fun. It was way more fun than I thought it was. I remember saying to you how much I enjoyed myself and how relaxing it was. I felt like.
Yes.
It was very easy for me to. I think I had 2 podcasts worth of interviews, and it was so much fun just walking around, talking to people, and interviewing them and about what they're doing. I found the entire event to be very relaxing, informative, and just kind of like what it made me feel like. This is what model railroading is all about.
Well, that's great because it should be. It should be about fun and fellowship and just building models and learning and doing better and just having fun. It should be no pressure.
Except on the Thursday night when you left Neil, you didn't let Neil come with you in the car for dinner.
Yeah, that was kind of rotten of me.
So okay, how many people did you have last year?
We had about 250 people, I want to say.
And what's your average?
It's been in the 250 range. We've gotten as high as 300. I think our last year before the pandemic, we hit about 300.
Okay, so since the pandemic, it's gone down a bit.
Yes.
And do you think that's just because people got in the groove of going, and then when the pandemic came, they kind of got out of the groove of going?
I think that's part of it. I think there were people who continued to be concerned perfectly reasonably about being in a group of people, people who maybe had compromised health situations and were just concerned. So I think some people have limited their attendance at events like this. And I think we just lost some people who maybe moved away but we're always trying to spread the word and draw new people. And we have seen new people, which is great. And we've seen some young people, which is really great. And I know we've talked about that before. The West Springfield show this year blew me away for the number of young people I saw who were modeling and making really good models.
I personally believe there's going to be 20 years from now, there's going to be a tsunami of people coming in the hobby that are, I think, way more people that are under the age of 20 are involved in the hobby than ever before because they can find places to be involved in the hobby. And trains and model railroading what has happened with social media is the model railroading has become, it's the vessel, but generally the people of model railroading are just good people that the majority of people, the majority of which you want to hang around with.
I agree.
And I think that's been exposed to the general public much more. I think it'll become more and more available to people. And I think probably the registration will continue to grow as the years go by.
You know, when I got into the hobby as a young kid, there was no community. It was me sort of muddling along. And I think I told you the story about my neighbor who taught me about Athearn boxcars and KD couplers and how that was an important sort of development in my life in the hobby. And but I was pretty much on my own. And I wish I'd had the kind of people who come to these meets who so willingly share information, because that would have been a game changer for me. I wish I knew that people went watching trains, rail fanning. That was something I didn't know people did. And there's so many opportunities to share the hobby, and for younger people to learn and to become engaged with other people who are willing to share. And that's really a good thing. And so we're going to have 25 and 30-year-old guys who, and I said guys again, I don't want to limit it. People in the hobby who are younger, but who have advanced to certain levels just because they've gotten information and opportunities sooner to try new things, to learn new things. And we're able to benefit from the knowledge of others.
Well, look at our very own.
Good thing.
It is. Look at our very own Tracy Boyd, a.k.a. the official flight attendant of the AML network. She likes trains. She likes model railroading. She likes the people. Her husband's not necessarily involved in the hobby, but she likes being part of the hobby. And as I've explained to her on numerous times, you don't have to have a layout, or you don't have to have built anything. You can enjoy the people and enjoy being part of the hobby. It's that's the beauty of this hobby. It's kind of like so many. That is the beauty of this hobby. I mean, I've made so many friends, and I mean, this podcast. I never would have done this podcast if it had not been for model railroading, and it's just there's just one opportunity after another. I mean, I went through a phase in my 40s where, I'd been in model railroader, but I went through a phase maybe in my 30s or 40s where I was a lone wolf, and I didn't really tell people I was a model railroader because people didn't understand it. And now way more people understand the hobby. It's going to become much more mainstream.
I remember driving someplace with a girlfriend when I was back in my 20s, and I'm driving past a hobby shop, and I go, oh, wow. I'm looking over my shoulder at the place as we drive, because what are you looking at? I go, oh, nothing at all. And just kept driving. And, when I got married, my wife was fully aware of my model train problem, and she still married me.
Yeah, there you go. So talking about setting your bar low, eh? And your wife,
she did settle for me.
Yeah, exactly. But your wife is a lovely lady. I don't think I've ever met her. Does she come to the NERPM and help you at all?
She was there. Last year she was there on Friday.
Oh, damn, and I missed it. You got to if I do come this year, you got to make a point of introducing.
I will, and you won't forget her. She'll she gives as good as she gets.
There you go. Brad.
Yes, Lionel.
Brad, are you there, Brad?
Lionel.
Brad,
I am here, Lionel.
I think you and Mr. Owens have never met. But I think this is an ideal spot for you to kind of relay your story about the hobby and how you've gotten in. You thought you were a lone wolf up until about, what, 3 or 4 years ago, 5 years ago.
5 years, yeah. Yep. Yeah, sure. The last person I did anything with model railroading before the last 5 years was my brother when I think I was 12 and he was 9, and then he lost interest in it. So from like the age of 12 up until 5 years ago, I was basically, as you called it, a lone wolf. I thought, and I was one of those people who was pretty sure that the hobby was dying because I just didn't have contact with anyone else. I didn't even know. I live about 15 miles from where Bowser and English's Model Railroad Supply is located in Montoursville, Pennsylvania. I didn't even know that existed till I was probably 18 or 19 years old. And, they were there the whole time. So, yeah, I was isolated completely by myself. And, back right before the pandemic, I started looking on Facebook just for N scale. I'm an N scaler, and model trains in general, and just met a couple people, and from that, this group that I'm a part of called Iron City N Scale started, and it's grown to over 1,000 members, largely thanks to the exposure we've gotten here.
Wow.
On from the AML, and yeah. And, we have a T-track layout that we take around and set up at different events. I think the largest number of modules we've had to date, I would have to ask our layout coordinator. I think it's like 76 or 78 T-track modules we've had at an event. And there's just so many things that I have gotten to do that have been so much fun over the last 5 years that I never dreamed I would ever be a part of anything like that. I designed my home layout, which I'm still building, with the idea that I'd be the only person who ever operated on it, because I didn't think there was anybody else around here that did it. And I've even made, through the AML, I made friends with a guy who lives 12 miles from me. I never knew he existed. So the first time I went to an event we have called Tom Stock, my friend, he's a good friend now, Neil Monis, and so many good friends in the Iron City N scale, guys that, if it weren't for model railroading, I never would have crossed paths with. And so the hobby is really awesome. And I'm just very thankful to be a part of it all. This podcast included. I've made, like Lionel was mentioning, you meet so many cool people that never would have been, you never would have even come close to meeting them if it wasn't for the hobby combined with the power of the internet. So
absolutely.
Have you guys thought of doing anything online with your NERPM, like some of the clinics, maybe online or something like that?
We've been asked about it, but it's having the technology to share it, and then just having the people to go record it or shoot it, and it's just we don't really have enough people. So, and then there's the other issue is sometimes the photographs people use in their presentations, they have right to share it. They have sort of they can use it for their clinic, but to share it beyond that might be it might be something they don't want to do, just out of concern of ticking off someone who they borrowed a photo from.
Is that something that's swimming around in the back of your head, or not really?
Not so much. There's that great event, that great online proto meet that is put on by Ted Collada and Hunter Hewson and Ryan Mendel.
What do they call that?
It just leaped out of my head. I want to say,
what is it called? It's called something. It's a kind of a goofy name.
Yeah, but it's a great event, and these guys developed it during the pandemic, and people were just hungry for anything, and just a great event, and the name is going to come to me.
How about I can figure it out? I'm going to look it up on. There's these. Why do I keep sneezing? Well, nobody heard that anyways, because I edited it out.
That's another thing that I was going to mention and forgotten about the pandemic. As bad as it was in a lot of ways, it really did accelerate, I think, people meeting up in the hobby. You had guys doing live videos, and like even Uncle Dave on the Onondaga Cutoff had live operating sessions, and I think that did. I guess that's the silver lining that came out of that dark cloud of the COVID pandemic.
And it brought a lot of people back to the hobby. The manufacturers, the distributors, pretty much every month through the pandemic was like December, because people were home. They got back to the hobbies they had as kids. They might have dabbled with, or they took the plunge into something maybe they'd been thinking about.
I found some stuff about Ted Collada, but I can't find what the heck is that name that those guys have. They have a great online thingamajigger that they do on a semi-regular basis. What the heck is it called? It's a bit of a goofy name, but it's a fun name, and now I can't find it.
Hindsight.
Is that what it is?
Yes, Hindsight. It's great, and the guys do a great job getting the word out. You'll see it in a bunch of the different groups.
And it's something there's people on there that, they have a great online thing I'm going to put in. I'm typing now, which is a perfect place for Kelly. What's this the perfect place for? Kelly.
Elevator music.
Yeah, I was playing the part of Bruce. I was on mute
Why were you on mute?
because I was sneezing.
Well, I was sneezing.
I was too. I mute every time it starts to sneeze.
No, I was sneezing. Now
I know you were sneezing. I can't hear it, but I was on mute.
Well, now I got it, and now because we're talking about it, now I've had to leave a few of those sneezes in, so that people know what we're talking about.
I know.
Your sneezes do add a lot to the podcast.
Yeah,
that's true. Yeah, they're quality sneezes. This is called
definitely.
It's called Hindsight 2020, and their last one was on Saturday, March 16th, 2024. It's Hindsight 2020 virtual RPM series. I highly recommend that everybody look it up on Facebook. Hindsight 2020, a virtual RPM series. It's well worth knowing about because they have these great virtual online clinic things. You can't go wrong with this stuff, and they do a real quality job too. I insist that as years go by, Mr. Owens, that idea slowly seeps into your brain, and you go, we should do something about that.
I will continue.
Yeah.
To have that seep into my brain.
Yeah, just let it seep into your brain, and you don't have to automatically do something. But maybe 5 years from now, you'll want somebody will join your crew that seems to be more have more technical knowledge, and they could help you out. And boom, you'll go, hey, you know what? We've been thinking of that for years.
Yes, and we finally pulled the trigger.
Yeah. So okay, let's get back to plugging this thing. So we got So $60 is the whole registration. Gives you Friday registration. Thursday night it starts, and gives you Friday, all day Saturday, and layout open houses on Sunday. And then there's breakfast buffet, breakfast Saturday. That must be. Let me ask you this question, because this is new for you, because you have to guarantee a certain amount of dollars for catering. Is that putting a lot of pressure on you guys? Does it seem? Is it a number that seems doable, or?
It's a new thing, and it is causing me some degree of agita because we've got to hit that number. But I'm hopeful that, frankly, I'm hopeful the alcohol is going to put us over the top.
It does that for me, for sure.
So I'm hoping that.
Well, many model railroaders do enjoy having the odd cocktail or two.
And it is an enjoyable time when people begin to imbibe. And of course, if people don't drink, they should feel welcome as well.
Well, it doesn't make any.
Yeah,
it doesn't make any difference. You don't have to be a drinker to have fun at the bar afterwards. You can have a Diet Coke or
Sure.
water or whatever, and still enjoy yourself at the bar. It's not
really
real. Yeah. Well, not you.
Okay. All right.
You weren't part of that conversation.
All right. Sorry.
Anyways, yes, that's important. Like, what else do we need to talk about, or have we covered it all? Or no, we got to go to clinics. We got to go to clinics. We haven't done clinics yet.
Oh, okay.
Well, we got to talk about the clinics a little bit so people understand the clinic list, which is tentative.
It is.
So Teddy Dee is doing hands-on weathering. Bring a model and weather it with assistance from Teddy Dee, and Teddy brings the materials.
He does. So you bring a freight car, or maybe you pick one up at one of the dealers, or from the. We also have a white elephant table where people bring their stuff.
That's right.
That's kind of a cool thing. So yeah, you can pick up a car or bring one and work on weathering it, and Ted will guide you and help you, because that's one of those things. People sometimes they're hesitant to do it because they don't want to. They don't like. My problem is I'm always hesitant to do something because I want to do a good job. I don't want to louse it up, and of course, the way you learn is you louse it up.
Yeah.
Who cares? You mess one up and you move forward.
Yeah.
And the next one is better, and the next one is better. But there's all kinds of good clinics. We've got a guy named Mark Osmond. This is going to be his first year giving a clinic on Guilford. He's modeling Guilford. And Mal Hauk has been one of our regulars, and he's doing a program on fish cars.
Wow.
Now you say, what are fish cars?
They're cars with fish in them?
Exactly. These were railroad-owned cars that transported fish for stocking up in the streams and the ponds and lakes. And why did the railroads do this? Because then they would sell tickets to the fishermen and the sportsmen to go fishing and to go up on these lines. So he's developed a whole clinic on this aspect of the railroad business, and he's also built some models of railroad fish cars that he'll have on display.
That's really cool.
That is very cool. That's something I never even knew of.
And I had no idea. We're going to have a clinic on Penn Central cabooses and cabin cars on the Long Island Railroad. One of the guys, John Terry, is going to talk about his career as an engineer on the Long Island Railroad, and clinic on Jordan spreaders and the all kinds of good stuff. We're really lucky that we've got so many great people who do really interesting clinics.
Yeah, and Tony Custer, is Tony still planning on coming?
Yeah, Tony's coming. That'll be great. Get an update on his railroad.
And Dave you say that name. That's another name.
Appadesano.
He's somebody that I want to have on the podcast, and I haven't contacted him for months and months and months, so he probably thinks I've forgotten about him. And in actual fact, I haven't forgotten. Because him and his friend, what's his friend's name? The weathering guy?
Butch Eiler.
Butch Eiler, yeah. I want to have those guys on the podcast.
Well, both of them are terrific modelers.
I know. Guys. They're fantastic modelers, and Dave is a great guy. I interviewed him last year.
Yep.
And so you get, and how many clinics do you have? Like, how many clinics do you plan on having?
We're going to run 3 at a time. So we're going to be we'll have more than 40 clinics.
Wow. Some people do them twice?
At this point, I'm not sure yet. I've there comes this point where I'm always nervous I'm not going to have enough clinics, and then I end up having too many. And but I'm sort of hit that sweet spot right now. I'm right about where I need to be, and so I think we're going to be in good shape. I don't think any will repeat at this point, but maybe 1 or 2. I don't know yet. I'm still working on that.
So how many clinics do you have a day?
We begin at 9 a.m.
Yeah.
We have 2 in the morning. We break for lunch. And then there's 3 sessions in the afternoon. And then there's 2 sessions at night. So
that's 7 a day.
So let me see.
Let me help you. See if I can. Let me help you here. See if I can do this.
6 and 9, 15. And we're at about
you're 7
about 19. 19 a day.
No, you're not. You're 7 a day.
No, you're right.
You're 7 a day, and you got 3 rooms. That's 21 clinics. You got 7 in each room, and you got 3 rooms. That's 21. 3 times 7. Help me out here, Kelly. Is 3 times 7 21?
21. Yep.
All right. Well, hey, you know what? We have a high school physics teacher in our presence. Let's see if he can answer this question. Brad, what's 3 times 7?
21.
Wow. Maybe he is a physics teacher.
I just cheated off of you and Kelly, though. That's the problem.
I've got to look at my schedule template. I always, I literally have to look at paper to.
Do you think you're qualified to be in charge of the clinics?
Probably not.
Yeah, it's kind of sounding that way. It's kind of
got a lot on his shoulders, though.
Yeah. Well, and it doesn't sound like you should be with the clinics. What's Steve Fanero's hands-on clinic? What is his?
He's going to be doing his flat car. It's a relatively simple kit to put together in a sitting, and he's going to guide everybody about that through that process. About 90 minutes. We've got a tool list, and he's going to have you buy the kit. He's got a nice deal on it, and he guides you through the construction of a resin kit.
And does he supply the kit? Like you pay for that? Somebody pays for the kit? Like you guys, each individual?
He brings them. You sign up for it, and he brings the kits and sells it to you.
So how does anybody sign up for that particular clinic?
Well, when I get to this next step of actually listing the details, I'll have people email me to sign up.
You understand that it's just like a month away, right?
I do. Yeah. Believe me, I do.
You might want to get started on that.
I know I'm always chasing my tail, but we're getting there.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's because you're slowly working your way into being the number one guy at the big Springfield show.
Yeah. He was in training. He was in training. I heard.
know. Are you going to be able to handle that? Do you think? Like it seems to me if you can't even handle lining up clinics for 2 days.
Oh boy.
You're not wrong.
Maybe I could get that $100 paid for in a consulting fee to John. Saying, I was talking to Dave and we were going over his clinic list and it seemed a little sketchy.
I went bank on that working.
Yeah. Clinic list seemed a little sketchy, John. So you might want to, don't be rushing into things. Ted Pamperin's he's got a beautiful layout, and he's got how he created a model railroad video that documents operations on the C&O in 1943. Oh, that'd be cool. He discusses the process that blurs the line. It says blues, but I'm pretty sure it's blurs the line.
I'll fix that typo. Thank you for pointing out my failings.
On the air, no less. Everything is laid bare. It's transparent here, so there's nothing that remains hidden.
No.
And I don't see anything here about Rapido trains.
Your fast track to model railroading fun.
If it's N, if it's H-O, the fast track is Rapido.
Does Bill Schneider ever do a clinic?
Oh, yeah.
Or does he? Okay.
Oh, yeah. He's doing one. I'm pretty sure I got Bill doing one. If he's not on my list, he will be. On his.
Hope he's listening.
and he's opening up his layout too for people to visit.
Okay, cool. And he's not that far from Chris, is he?
No, Chris is going to open up, and we're working on another layout down right near Chris, another in Old Saybrook. Chris is going to check on it for me. So there's 3 really terrific layouts, literally within probably 10 minutes of each other.
Mm.
We should have had him on this podcast.
Really?
Yeah, I guess I kind of blew that. Sorry, Chris. You should have.
If anybody's going down to visit either one of those layouts, they should stop at that pizza place along at the station. That was pretty cool.
Well, that's down in Old Saybrook. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. We went there. Yeah. So that's right. Chris is going to take everybody out to dinner after they go see his layout.
That'll be another $300.
Yeah.
I don't think Chris could make it tonight because he's sweater vest shopping.
Oh, is he? There you go. Yeah. He's been under the weather for a while, so that's kind of probably how I forgot to ask him. He's been under the weather for quite a while.
No, I'm sorry to hear that, but he's been working on his railroad, so that's good.
I know, that's the main thing, yeah. And then because I like to do fireside chats with Chris, and he's another one. He'll say, well, okay, but I don't really have anything to talk about. Then I go to his Facebook page, and there's like 12 posts that I'd never seen before, and I'm like, and you got, all you have to do with Chris is go, so I see you went into the layout room, and, I sit back for 20 minutes, and that's it. Chris is great on the podcast. He's a huge addition to the podcast. All right. So we've covered.
He's a smart guy and a talented modeler.
A very talented modeler, and makes decisions. He's no better. No, there's nobody better at making instant decisions about his model railroad.
That's a good thing. I'm still planning mine.
Yeah, I'm being facetious now because he'll be like, should I put this picture on my fascia here? Or should it be 2 inches to the right? It's a picture. Just put it on the fascia. It's within the, And he builds these beautiful backdrops. He's a exquisite modeler. He has a beautiful layout.
Yeah.
Okay. Have we covered everything?
I think we have.
That's good. Whatever. You got any more questions, Kelly?
No. I'm just happy that this is all going really well. And
it is going.
Really... I wish I was on the East Coast because I would definitely go.
Absolutely. Well, is there a direct flight from Medford, Oregon to Bradley International Airport?
I'm guessing no.
No.
Do you have many people fly in?
What was it?
We do. We get a couple. Some guys come up from Florida. We've had guys come in from California in the past. The Midwest. Most people drive.
Yeah. I know you don't like to hear this or don't like me to say it, but I believe that the Northeast RPM is one of the preeminent RPM meets in the country.
Well, we appreciate that. That's kind of you to say that, and we do our best to put on a good event so that people have a great time.
Yeah, I know it's not your favorite event, but it's still a good event. Well, it's not. There's one down. Have you ever been to the one, Brad? Have you ever been to the one near Pittsburgh?
No, I haven't. I do want to get to one of those, but no, I've never been to an RPM meet at all, but I definitely want to.
What's the one near Pittsburgh every other year?
It's in Youngwood, Pennsylvania. They moved it. It used to be in Greensburg. Now it's in Youngwood, Pennsylvania, at the community college down there. And it's a fun meet. I just love going out to that part of the country. We stop in Altoona and watch trains. There's lots of fun to do out there. I love those old Western Pennsylvania cities that are, the old industrial cities.
Yeah.
And just checking them out. I love going through South Fork on the main line of the old Pennsylvania Railroad, which is where the Johnstown flood began, where the South Fork Hunt and Fish Club was. It was just, it's just stuff that I love being there and just seeing. You can almost imagine what the railroad was 50 years ago in some of those places.
Oh yeah, absolutely. The back.
Sorry.
I'm too. I was just going to say the backwoods of Pennsylvania is fascinating. Like you say, it's old.
Yeah.
And, the roads kind of go everywhere. And, I mean, there's around every corner. It's just as interesting as going around the last corner.
Yeah. And I just enjoy being out there. It's great train watching territory. And I always just see things that I find very interesting. I'm very interested in the Pennsylvania Railroad and Penn Central, along with the Reading, which is my primary interest. But
oh, is it? Oh, yeah. Cool. What part of the Reading?
Well, I grew up along the Reading. I grew up outside of Philadelphia.
Okay, well, that's a big area.
Yeah,
that's for the Reading.
I grew up on the Bethlehem branch of the Reading.
I grew up on the Wilmington Northern.
Oh, okay. What town?
Embryville.
Okay, cool.
Which is south of Coatesville.
All right, I know right where that is.
Yeah.
I grew up in Orland, which is a little tiny town that no one's heard of, but it's literally right outside of Philadelphia. Yeah. And it's on the line that they used to haul iron ore from the port of Philadelphia up to Bethlehem Steel.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you know where, Dave, do you know where Williamsport, Pennsylvania is?
I do.
Well, just about 12 miles from Williamsport is the town of Crater, Pennsylvania.
Crater?
Yeah, it used to be Oval, Pennsylvania until it got hit by a asteroid and it became Crater, Pennsylvania.
Wow. It was during a podcast that happened too.
Yeah, that was the cool part.
That must have hurt.
Yeah,
it did. Yep.
Left a massive hole.
We're Crater strong though. We recovered from it.
Yeah, well, I survived that earthquake a couple of weeks ago. I didn't even feel it. So
that was like just down the street from Dave Abley's house.
Yeah,
yeah.
We felt that clear out here. It was just a little. It wasn't anything horrible, but you could feel the tremors from it clear out here in central PA.
Well, imagine, Dave, I get a message from Tom Schmid. He says there's been a earthquake and the epicenter is in Lebanon, Pennsylvania. And then I text and I text Dave right away, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm on it." And it was like just down. The epicenter was just down the street from his house, and so. But then we were talking about it later, and his family got interviewed on Fox News. His 3 kids and his wife were interviewed on Fox News because they were basically at the epicenter of the earthquake. And
wow.
Yeah, and unfortunately there was there was no damage at Dave's house and minimal damage in the town. But he was like, that's being at the epicenter of an earthquake isn't anything I would choose to do on purpose.
No, I don't think that would be good.
You don't want to be in the location where a meteor or an asteroid hits either. No, I can tell you that. Yeah. So Youngwood, Pennsylvania is southeast of Pittsburgh, maybe 30 miles, something like that.
I think so. It's right near New Stanton, right next to New Stanton, which is where I-70 hits the Pennsylvania Turnpike.
Yeah, exactly. And for those of you who don't know, Brad, what do they call this particular RPM that they have in Youngwood every other year?
Give me a minute here. I'll find it. RPM. That might be RPM. I'm making it up. I don't know.
It's in the King. It's in the King of Prussia.
King of Prussia.
Yeah, that's RPM East. I think I got them right here. Here we go.
Well, yeah.
Bear with me.
Anyways, Brad,
There.
the point being that Dave likes this RPM more than he likes his own.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
RPM East is the one in Youngwood.
Yeah.
RPM East.
No, east or west?
East.
East.
Yeah. And then RPM Valley Forge is the one that is in eastern Pennsylvania near
Right.
Philadelphia.
So it's Valley Forge one year, it's Youngwood the other year.
Yeah.
Right, they alternate.
And then
and
Youngwood is the one that Dave likes more than he likes his own RPM. It's very confusing. So it wouldn't take you that long, Brad, to get to that one.
No, neither one of those would take me that long.
Exactly. So you should make a point of going to one of those because I think you'd enjoy it.
Really.
Yeah, I definitely am going to for sure.
All right. Now I think we've covered it all. I'm getting hot. I got to turn my furnace down, I think. I'm getting hot. I'm getting all sweat. I'm getting all hot and sweaty after talking to Dave for this long.
Wow.
How else can someone get an email?
So if you missed out on that fine presentation of the email address, you go to our website, ModelersLife.com, and you just scroll down a little bit, and you'll see a picture of the moderately agitated mailboy in a particularly agitated state. And you just click on that picture, and boom, the email address is already filled in, and all you got to do is put in your text and hit send, and away your email goes. And we love getting email, pro or con. We got one from Bill Ford the other day that pointed out he didn't like one particular show, so I can hardly wait to read that one. That'll be fun. And yeah, so send in your emails because we love reading it. We love doing viewer mail. That's one of our favorite shows to do because we love the interaction with the fans. Have you ever sent in an email, Dave?
I have not. I just text you.
Yeah, you just text me. But if you ever want to send in an email, feel free.
I will. Thank you.
And then let's see, what else do we have to talk about? If you like this podcast, which has been on the free channel, so the Northeast RPM can get as much exposure as possible. But if you like this podcast and you're saying to yourself, gosh, I wish there was twice as much podcasting a week from the AML, if you go to our Patreon channel, and there's a link for that on our website at ModelersLife.com, and click on that link, boom. For just a few cents a day, you can have twice as much podcasting a week. And typically the podcasts come out on Monday and Tuesday. The last month or so, not so much, but we're working on that. We've had a few glitches, and we're trying to iron those out with the help of the host psychiatrist. Exactly. And
what fun is perfection? What fun is perfection?
Exactly.
Is that going to be Lionel? Is that going to be a new game? Hey, dude, where's my podcast?
Yeah, hey, dude, where's my podcast? Yeah, I like that. Well, hopefully
the T-shirt thing took off, so maybe this will too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And if you want a special T-shirt that's only available to Patreon members for just a few more cents a day, you get a free T-shirt every year, and then you also are entered into the contest of when do I get my T-shirt, or as we like to call it, hey, dude, where's my T-shirt? And because everybody gets their T-shirt, it's just a matter of when do you get your T-shirt.
And when you get them, they are absolutely fantastic T-shirts, too.
There you go. That's true. And you get a bag of stickers and other stuff. So that's cool. And
Bago Bling. Bago Bling.
Bago Bling. There you go. Bago Bling. Nice one.
Wow.
He actually played for the San Diego Padres.
Who old Bago did? Bago Bling?
Bago Bling.
was his middle initial, wasn't it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He was Irish. Bago Bling. Yeah. Now, his first name, of course, was Seamus. Seamus O'Bling.
But someone nicknamed him Bag for some reason.
Well, because when he had no money. This is back in the 30s, right? And I mean, he had no money, and the ball players back then didn't make much, so he used to carry around his clothes rather than couldn't afford a suitcase, so he just always had a paper bag that he carried his clothes around and his mitts and his extra balls and stuff. And so then eventually he got the name Bag, so he was Bag O'Bling rather than Seamus O'Bling.
You are a fountain of information tonight.
Yeah. He was catcher for the San Diego Padres. Played 7 years. Three-time Golden Glover. Of course, he had that tragic ending to his life, but we don't need to go into that now.
Not another one. Holy cow.
Wow. Who knew it's such a dangerous sport?
Yeah, exactly. Okay, finally, we have to ask you, Dave, have you ever wanted a T-shirt with a hot dog on it?
Absolutely.
Well, if you go to Midwest Model Railroad and their URL is midwestmodelrr.com, and you go across the menu bar to Other and hit the drop-down menu, there's the AML shop, and in there you'll find you're in a wonderland of AML merchandise, hats, hoodies, T-shirts, mugs, and in there you'll find a T-shirt with a hot dog on it, which is a fabulous T-shirt. Our very own Brad Williamson has one of those.
I actually have two of those.
Do you?
They are fabulous. Yeah, I have it in maroon and blue, both.
Yeah.
Do they come with or without mustard stains?
Just mustard on the hot dog. No ketchup.
Okay.
No ketchup.
Okay.
We should do the Kelly questions with Dave Owens one night.
Oh, yeah.
That would be fun. I think that's it. I think we got her covered.
Well, thank you, Lionel. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. And are you ready, Dave, for the ending?
I am.
Okay. So remember, a Modeler's Life podcast is considered marginally adequate by 6 out of 10
West Springfield Train Show directors.
Transportation for AML guests provided by Diamond Limousine. Diamond Limousine, where all of our vehicles are true diamonds in the rough.
It's another Lincoln Homer.
Wow.
That wasn't a very good one. I don't know if that was it.
No, that's
wrong.
good.
I could have done better.
That was good.
That was a good one. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you want to hear a bad one, listen to whenever the podcast is where I dropped the ball horribly. So I feel I was kind of in the zone tonight. I got a lot to make up for though.
Yeah.
Oh man.